Feliformia is the name of a suborder within the order Carnivora, consisting of cat-like carnivorans, including cats, hyenas, mongooses, civets, and related taxa. Feliformia stands in contrast to the other suborder of Carnivora, Caniformia. The separation of the Carnivora into the broad groups of Feliforms and Caniforms is widely accepted, as is the definition of Feliformia and Caniformia as suborders. The classification of Feliforms as part of the Feliformia suborder or under separate groupings continues to evolve. Systematic classifications dealing with only extant taxa include all Feliforms into the Feliformia suborder, though variations exist in the definition and grouping of families and genera. Indeed, molecular phylogenies suggest that all extant Feliformia are monophyletic. The extant families, as reflected in the taxa chart at right and the discussions in this article, reflect the most contemporary and well-supported views. Systematic classifications dealing with both extant and extinct taxa vary more widely. Some separate the Feliforms as Ailuroidea and Feliforma. Others include all Feliforms into the Feliformia suborder. Recent studies suggest this inclusion of possible ancestors into Feliformia may be spurious. The extinct families, as reflected in the taxa chart, are the least problematic in terms of the relationship with extant Feliforms. Characteristics. All extant Feliforms share a common attribute: their auditory bullae. This is a key diagnostic in classifying species as feliform versus caniform. In feliforms, the auditory bullae are double-chambered, composed of two bones joined by a septum. Caniforms have single-chambered or partially divided auditory bullae, composed of a single bone. This feature, however, is problematic for the classification of the extinct Nimravidae as feliforms. Nimravid fossils show ossified bullae with no septum, or no trace at all of the entire bulla. It is assumed that they had a cartilaginous housing of the ear mechanism. The specific characteristics of extant feliform bullae suggest a common ancestor, though one has not been identified in the fossil records. There are other characteristics that differentiate feliforms from caniforms and probably existed in the stem taxa, but, due to speciation, these do not apply unambiguously to all extant species. Feliforms tend to have shorter rostrums than caniforms, fewer teeth, and more specialized carnassials. Feliforms tend to be more carnivorous and are generally ambush hunters. Caniforms tend more toward omnivorous and opportunity-based feeders. Many feliforms have retractile or semi-retractile claws, and many are arboreal or semi-arboreal. Feliforms also tend to be more digitigrade. In contrast, most caniforms are terrestrial, have non-retractile claws, and tend to be plantigrade. Extant families. There are 7 extant families, 12 subfamilies, 56 genera and 114 species in the Feliformia suborder. They range natively across all continents except Australia and Antarctica. Most species are arboreal or semi-arboreal ambush hunters. Target prey varies based on the species size and available food sources. An overview of each family is provided here. For detailed taxa and descriptions of the species in each family, follow the links to other articles and external references. Family Euphleuridae includes Fossa, Phalanuge, Malagasy civet and Malagasy mongooses, all of which are restricted to the island of Madagascar. The H species in the family exhibit significant variations in form. These differences initially led to the species in this family sharing common names with and being placed in the different families of apparently more similar species on the mainland. However, phylogenetic analysis of DNA provides strong evidence that all Malagasy carnivorans evolved from a single common ancestor that was a herpestid. Recent phylogenetic analysis supports this view and places all of the Malagasy carnivores carnivorans in the family Eupleridae. The differences in form make it difficult to concisely summarize the species in this family. The range in size is as diverse as the range in form, with smaller species at less than 500 grams and the largest species at up to 12 kilograms. Some have retractile or semi-retractile claws and others do not. They all tend to have slender bodies and pointed rostra. Diet varies with size and form of the species and, like the mainland counterparts, ranges from small mammals, insects and invertebrates through to crustaceans and mollusks. Family Felidae are the best known of cat-like carnivorans. There are 41 extant species, and all but a few have retractile claws. This family is represented on all continents except Australia and the Antarctic. The species vary in size from the tiny black-footed cat at only 2 kilograms to the tiger at 300 kilograms. Diet ranges from large to small mammals, birds and insects. Family Hyenidae has 4 extant species and 2 subspecies. All show features of convergent evolution with canids, including non-retractile claws, long muzzles, and adaptations to running for long distances. They are extant in the Middle East, India and Africa. Hyenas are large, powerful animals, up to 80 kilograms, and represent one of the most prolific large carnivorans on the planet. The aardwolf is much smaller at 27 kilograms and is a specialized feeder, eating mainly harvested termites. Family Herpestidae has 32 species. Previously, these were placed in the family Viveridae. However, Wilson and Reeder established the herpestids as morphologically and genetically distinct from viverids. They are extant in Africa, Middle East and Asia. All have non-retractile claws. They are smaller as a family, ranging from 1 kilogram to 5 kilograms, and typically have long, slender bodies and short legs. Diet varies based on species size and available food sources, ranging from small mammals, birds to reptiles, insects and crabs. Some species are omnivorous, including fruits and tubers in their diet. Family Nandinidae has only 1 species, extant across sub-Saharan Africa. They have retractile claws and are slender-bodied, arboreal omnivores. They are relatively small, with the larger males weighing up to 5 kilograms. Family Prianodontidae has 2 extant species in 1 genus. They live in southern East Asia. All are arboreal hypercarnivorans. They are the closest living relatives of the family Felidae. Family Viveridae has 30 extant species and all have retractile claws. They are extant in southern Europe, Africa and Asia. They range in size from 500 grams up to medium-sized carnivorans at 14 kilograms. They have long bodies and short legs and usually have long tails. Diet ranges from small mammals and insects through to crustaceans and mollusks. Evolution. In the Middle Paleocene, Maiacoidea appears. Maiacoids were a group of paraphyletic taxa believed to be basal to Carnivora. They had carnivora-like carnassials but lacked fully ossified ordered tribuli. Maiacids were small arboreal carnivorans and, based on the size, they probably fed on insects, small mammals and birds. The Maiacoids are divided into 2 groups: the Maiacids, with a full complement of molars, and the Viverivines with a reduced number of molars and more specialized carnassials. These dental differences resemble the difference between caniforms and feliforms, but this may not mean evolutionary lineages. It was thought that Viveridae was basal to the feliforms. However, recent studies suggest this is not the case. In the Middle Eocene, the mongooses started to branch into two distinct groups of the order Carnivora, the feliforms and caniforms. The mongoose precursors to the extant feliforms remained forest-dwelling, arboreal or semi-arboreal ambush hunters, while the caniform precursors were more mobile, opportunistic hunters. While it is clear that the first feliforms appeared at this time, there is no clear common ancestor of the feliform families in the fossil records. As forest dwellers, the early feliforms were subject to more rapid decomposition in the absence of sedimentary materials, resulting in large gaps in the fossil records. For more discussion on feliform evolution and the divergence from the caniforms, together with additional external references on this subject, see the articles on Carnivora, Maiacoidea and Carnivora morpha. The diagram below presents a contemporary view of feliform evolution and familial relationships overlaid onto the geological time scale. The information presented is based on fossil records and systematic classifications.